lastly, how might Indigenous perspectives contribute to change in terms of traditional recruitment and hiring?
Um, I think one of the things, and I'm really lucky in the team that I'm with, the government CCT team, that this is already something that I'm seeing take place in how we place candidates, but just how much in traditional Indigenous culture and how it permeates like Indigenous cultures today is the emphasis on holistic approaches, which is taking everything into consideration. And more recently, I had shared a post around mental health and how you can't treat mental health if you're not treating health as a holistic science. So, treating mental health or brain health. The same as physical health, as spiritual health, and all of those things have to come together to address it. And it's the same thing in Indigenous cultures. And I'll take, for example, my own reconnection journey, in that it just started with my mom. And I would go with her for cultural education events that she does. And once I started to show up with my mom for these cultural education events, then she was sharing that with my Auntie Linda, who is the ceremonialist in my community. And so my aunt invited me to ceremony. And when I was at ceremony, that's when I started reconnecting with my sister Melody, who is also a ceremonialist and a in a different society called the Madukis. And once I started reconnecting with Melody, I started learning more about um, uh, traditional Blackfoot women's societies and ceremonies. And by virtue of that, that's how I ended up with this invitation to join her at Sundance. And 3 or 4 years ago, I had been talking to one of my elders here in Calgary, Shelley Wade, and one of someone that I connect with on a spiritual level when it comes to Indigenous spirituality. And I had shared with her that I really wanted to go to Sundance. And for whatever reason, it just never quite worked out. Like there was always something that we ran into a hiccup with. And I know now that it just because it wasn't going to be part of my journey in that specific sequences of events. And I know that was a long-winded story. Thank you for indulging this Indigenous practice of long-winded storytelling. But it was all to come to this piece of, um, sometimes the right role for somebody isn't um, it doesn't come through a traditional means. For example, with recruiting, something that we've talked a lot about recently, particularly around skills project, how it can give us more insight into somebody, for example, who is so passionate about IT and might be working with a software or a scripting language since they were in their teens, and how growing up with this and working with it as it evolved would give them a far more deeper and intrinsic understanding of the scripting language than somebody who has been in the the industry for 10 or 15 years and has added it on just as an additional skill or as part of a project. And so I think about something like that, in that looking at somebody's experience and their interests and their abilities as a holistic approach, like we do with my Indigenous journey, could lead to companies finding somebody for their role that is absolutely what they're looking for.
Thanks, Dana-Rae. And yeah, just referencing Skills Project, which is our skills-based assessment platform, and it exactly what you were saying. It's meant to kind of give a more holistic view to hiring managers as to who people are, not just what they put on their resume, but also to ensure that people are who they say they are,
Yeah.
right? Which makes for a faster, and more nuanced hiring process. And I think, yeah, I think that translates really well, and certainly speaks to, again, this kind of need to move a little bit outside of a traditional recruiting process where it's like, you're kind of judged by a resume alone, right? And that's not
Yeah.
always. It's very rarely the whole of someone's story,
Yeah, it's
right?
just like a snapshot of time, right? Yeah.
For sure. And so I think that that holistic worldview is one that we need to, see more of and to incorporate more of in not just recruitment, but I think every aspect of our
Yeah.
daily life
Agree.
would do us some good. But no, yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
And thank you so much for being with us here today and sharing, part of your really inspirational reconnection journey. And I know at Raise, we're just really happy to have part of that journey, be you working with us and connecting people in meaningful work. And we're excited to see all of the beautiful impact that you're going to have here with us to come. So thank you so much, Dana-Rae. It's been a
Thank
pleasure.
you. I have loved my time at Raise, and I'm looking forward to more of it.